it's crazy to me to see that school and, colleges, they never teach anything about money,
Hmm.
never taught anything about money. And that's bringing me to to the questions. What you've been taught about money in your young, like, childhood, and yeah, about success and money, basically.
Hmm. Well, just that you had to work hard for it. That
Hmm.
was the main
Yep.
overarching thing,
Yep.
that you have to work hard for it.
Work
There
hard.
is no such thing as having money and not working hard
Yep.
for it. And I hope everyone listening knows this. That is not true. That is not true
Yep.
at all. We can't let any excuse or anybody else stop us.
Hmm. Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
that's a brand builders thing. They really remind us that it is selfish
Hmm.
for us not to tell someone when we have an answer that
Hmm.
can change their life.
Hmm.
And it becomes more about me if I'm not willing to tell you because I don't like the reaction that might come. Then it's about me. It's not about me serving you. I'm just telling myself it's about me serving you, and that's not true. So do it, y'all. Only one message. Only one message. Only, believe it or not, that's really very easy. Really and truly know who God the Father designed you to be and how much He loves you and how much that relationship, He gave everything to have a relationship with us. And with Him, you will never be alone. And He will open the doors and He will protect. Doesn't mean that life won't still be a challenge, but you won't be alone and you will always be loved. And that will immediately draw all the other things to you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Brainwashed to be Broke series. Today's guest is someone who brings wisdom, legacy, and spiritual fire to everything she touches. She's a certified executive spiritual life coach, wealth and legacy strategist, and licensed minister with a background in biblical economics and a mission to help families build financial abundance rooted in love, purpose, and faith. She's a taught at she has taught at the college level, authored books for both kids and adults, runs multiple YouTube channels, and empower women across generations to break cycle and lead with legacy. Super excited to have her here. Welcome to the show, Victoria Moore-McDowell.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much for
much. It's an honor to be here.
thank you.
We have a mutual friend, and I know she had been on here, Rebecca. And so it was just an honor to be recommended and for you to choose me. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you so much for being here. It's just my pleasure to have you here. And I have prepared a bunch of questions for you for sure. But before we're gonna go into those questions, I would love to if you could share your story and how it all started for you in entrepreneurship, what it led it to the entrepreneurship, and when was the moment that you broke the script.
Well, I'm going to start literally at the beginning, but nobody has to be afraid that because that was 58 years ago. Don't be afraid because we're going to go really fast. My parents were very hard workers. I stayed with my grandparents a lot, and my mother had seven brothers and sisters, and they were all very entrepreneurial minded. They had multiple jobs, and actually going to college would, I think, have hurt them from even from being so willing to just do what they were called to do and what they were designed to do. And in that, we always lived in the country, and I went to school in the city. My parents worked in the city, so my life has never looked like anybody's. I know people think that, but mine was really out there. And so again, that really helped. I mean, there was pain involved in that too. I mean, as we know, we all want to fit in. And so it wasn't like, oh, that was just so wonderful, because it wasn't always so wonderful at all. But my grandmother, who had polio as a child and could hardly walk, she was larger than life. And
Mhm.
she just instilled in me the you are special, you can do anything.
Mm.
And she would even get on the phone, and she took my granddaddy's plumbing calls. And the reason I tell you this is because this is how much our impact carries through. And
Mhm.
she would say, if it was a woman or
Mhm.
something, a lot of times it was a man, but sometimes it was a woman. And she would say during the course of the call, I bet you're beautiful.
Mhm.
And she meant it.
Mhm.
And there was even a stage in my life where my cousins and I were we worked at the same hospital together. And she would call and she would say something like that. And we would kind of be a little embarrassed, fellow colleague in the office. And she would be like, oh, little Jane, I know you're beautiful. But, it impacted me in such a way that even now, when I see people, I am able to see beauty in them.
Mm.
I am able to see that. But I
Mhm.
was also raised very religiously. I went to a small Baptist school that was very hellfire and brimstone, and that also affected me greatly
Mhm.
because I thought God was mad at me all the time. I
Mhm.
thought he was disappointed. He was constantly like, I don't hear that prayer. I'm not talking to you. And so that guilt and condemnation, along with my parents working a lot and as I said, just not fitting in a lot of ways,
Yep.
led to not only some bad choices and bad decisions relationally, but then this need to succeed otherwise, like in my career and things like that. And there was so much guilt and so much shame because I wanted to do better, to do right. And
Mhm.
the shame and condemnation just don't allow you to do that.
Mhm.
Legalism just beats you down. The reason that's important is because I ended up married, divorced, had a child,
Wow.
all kinds of stuff. And next thing I knew, I was driving down the road one day and my hands started hurting. I'm a grown woman, two children, all of that. Driving down the road, and my hands start hurting so bad. I was off on vacation. I was in the hospitality industry. I was off on vacation that week for my anniversary, matter of fact. And my hands started hurting so bad I could hardly drive. I ended up for the next 18 years being almost completely bedridden. For 10 years, I was completely bedridden.
Mhm.
My children had to go to my parents to be raised. Again, guilt, shame, condemnation,
Mhm.
all of that. And, but I had all these dreams and I would constantly try to figure out this little thing I could do or this little thing I could make. Because again, as an entrepreneur, which I just believe that the whole entrepreneur blanket, I believe is so godly. I'm not saying that, having a
Yeah.
specific job and a specific call isn't, but because there's so much creativity involved in being an entrepreneur and looking at things in a different way and figuring things out that have never been figured out quite that way before,
Yeah.
then it just always was, I just believe, a core part of me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, do you want me to go on? Because I know I'm talking a lot.
No, totally. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 Sure.
So anyway, so during that time, then after about 10 years, 11 years, 15 years went by, I started watching Joseph Prince, Pastor
Mhm.
Joseph Prince out of
Mhm.
Singapore.
Mhm.
He had had a very similar experience as far as the guilt and condemnation piece. When he got saved, then he thought that every time he sinned, then God was angry at him and like
Mhm.
strike down lightning bolts, that kind of thing. And so when he found out about the grace of God, and instead of being his own savior, which I still have a tendency, I love to try to save people. I
Mhm.
have to watch out for that. So instead of that, then let's let Jesus be our savior. But then the next piece is the piece that I still build on today.
Mhm.
And that is our
Mhm.
identity in Christ. And so we are free to do the things, to make the mistakes, not intention. I'm not talking about intentional
Yep.
crazy things that people like to say
Yep.
about anything about grace,
Yep.
but
Yep.
I'm talking about really coming to grips with my own identity,
Mhm.
that what God made and designed me to
Mhm.
do and to be, and letting Jesus handle the rest of it because he already had. And so then I started changing how I believed about myself.
Mm,
Because if Jesus had done all the work and God wasn't mad at me, and he had put all these things in me so that I could serve others, serve myself, serve my
mhm,
family,
mhm,
serve others, then wow. But it was such a process of renewing my mind. It
mhm.
took about, and I was in an abusive marriage at that time, which was, this was my third. Can you believe it? It was like, oh my goodness, everybody just put the phone down. Nobody can hear me now. But,
Yeah.
it's such a great testimony because the marriage was not physically abusive.
Mhm,
It was all the other things, and literally all the other things, lots of control, financial things, all that stuff. And as I renewed my mind to value and worth within myself
mhm,
and within my decisions, then I was finally able to leave. And that was 7 years ago. So that's
mhm,
what I mean. We have a story that even though it's long in a way, I really just started, y'all, 7 years ago. 7 years ago in August. August 18th will be my 7 year anniversary of when I left.
Wow.
And I went to counseling. Not only did I have my other physical pain and all of that, but by this time I had post-traumatic stress disorder. And I went to counseling. And my very first thing, I just walked in. I've always been willing to be wrong. I mean, I
Mhm.
like being right. Don't get me wrong. I like being right.
Doesn't.
I want to be right.
Yeah.
But I just as soon you tell me where I'm wrong so that I can go on and be right. So I just said, I just want to know why I'm making the choices that I'm making so that
Mhm,
I can make better choices. And
mhm.
again, to me, that's very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
To do all the try this fails, this is here, that's there.
So
It
true.
all weaves in there together to me.
Mhm,
And so anyway, I went into counseling and I started school online and the pain completely left. As you can see, I'm in no pain at all. I am
mhm,
not tired. I used to, there was not a day that went by for those 20
mhm,
years that I wasn't in excruciating pain.
mhm. You
And
mean
now
you mean pain like a physically or like
physical
a
pain.
physical
Yeah,
pain?
physical pain.
Mhm.
Yeah, literal physical crying pain. And I'm not like wimpy either. So I mean, because I wasn't raised that way,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, there was emotional pain and emotional turmoil, of course, but that went away much more quickly
Mm,
because of all the things that my grandmother had instilled in me. See, she had
mm,
already put that value and worth in me.
yep.
So when I connected that to the spiritual aspect of what God really says about me,
Mm,
then the internal stuff healed much more quickly.
mhm.
Um, but the physical manifestation of that,
Yep.
and not to use that word in a woo-woo way,
Mhm.
but in its truest form, it really, after I began accepting my spiritual identity,
Yep.
then the rest began to follow.
Yep. Yeah.
So
So.
then I started college and got my certification. And then I had a car wreck. And then 3 years ago, my mother got COVID and almost died. And for the last 2 years after that, I have been full-time caregiving. And so now I'm like finally coming back out. So
Mhm.
here I am. I've been serving, writing
Wow.
books, doing things behind the scenes. And yeah, so now I look forward to speaking. One of my sons, he flies all over the place. He's works for Cox Media, my oldest son, and my youngest son is actually quite famous. And so it's all coming together now, and it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
so wonderful because the women that I help in some way, generally, there is something that overlaps in our
Mhm.
message
Mhm.
so that I'm not a big fan of people saying I understand,
Yeah.
but I am a big fan of saying I went through this. It sounds similar, and
Yeah.
maybe those feelings are the same.
Yeah.
So,
So good. Yeah. So good. What he does actually? Your youngest son?
my son is a musician.
Okay.
He is a musician, and so anyway, he's wonderful.
That's amazing. So amazing.
Both my sons are wonderful. But anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. So amazing. So amazing. Well, let's go back to the beginning
Yeah,
of your
now you
journey.
can ask questions. I think we've got it all out here now. So there you go.
So, so when we go back to the beginning of yours,
hmm
so tell me more how your childhood looked like and what you been taught that the success supposed to be like.
Well, um, my my mother is she is beautiful. She's still beautiful,
Yep.
very smart, but very, very poor. I mean, like
Mhm.
no shoes during the summer, poor.
Yep. Yep.
And so she is an extremely strong person and
hmm
she's very unemotional.
hmm
So, as you can imagine, the dichotomy between me and her was a bit of a challenge. But even my grandmother, I was raised with very strong women.
hmm Yep.
So, very, very strong women that whatever needed to be done, that's what you do.
hmm
And
So
and again,
mindfully strong.
yes,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that those things that she or how she raised you actually like shape you shape you to the person that can actually kind of be able to overcome so many obstacles that you overcome?
Yes, I think that because my mother and I are so different, there was so much disharmony because I mean, she was young then
hmm
too. I
Yep.
mean, she was in her 20s.
Yep.
And so I think the time with my grandmother and then my mother was really a great balance of
hmm
who I was able to become.
Mm,
But that was also a process of being able to um, appreciate the things that my mother did because I always did.
mhm,
I was in awe of her. I wasn't like, oh, you're terrible. I didn't mean it that way at all.
mhm,
It also went to that God throwing lightning bolt kind of thing because she was my authority figure. I also
mhm,
many times thought she was mad at me when she wasn't. So that has helped me so much in entrepreneurship and just in ministering and counseling. And again, being able to utilize because I don't believe anything's wasted.
yeah.
Being able to quietly reflect within ourselves of what is
Mhm,
truly going on and realize that how many of the things that we're hearing are through the filters that we haven't yet healed
mhm,
and working on that person, that constant working on that person, not in a worksome burden type way,
yep, yep,
but in a I get to be this other person. I get to now take this, keep this about me, dispose of that.
yep.
And so to have both of them, to have just had one or the other, it wasn't that way, so I don't know this for sure, but I know that I've learned so much from my mother
Mhm,
um, that it probably would have been easier if it would have just been a personality like my grandmother.
mhm,
And I don't think that that would have led me astray in any way because she wasn't weak and it wasn't a weak,
yep.
type thing. But but then again, just to be able to have them both. And I think that so many times we can always, I believe that we can always find the things in other people that we either want
Mhm,
to integrate into ourselves
mhm,
or that we want to figure out, well, do I just need to have compassion for this person
mhm,
or do I just want to reject that? And what in these processes serve me and
mhm,
then serve others? Because the Bible even tells us
mhm,
that we're to love God, but that we're supposed to love ourselves,
mhm, yep,
you know,
yep.
and and we're supposed to love our neighbors, it says, as ourselves.
Mhm,
So if you have the piece of the puzzle where you've got God and you're trying to love your neighbor, but you're not healed, then the problem is going to remain,
Yep.
and that's going to keep you from making good decisions, from being
Mhm.
able to run your business, to run your
Mhm.
ministry, to do those things, to be accepting. And so I think it's so important to take everyone as an individual and go from there, but then also to say, no, that's, to have boundaries,
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Totally.
have,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So make completely sense. And so what have you been taught then about like how success should look like to you when you've been, young?
well, what I was taught success looked like was, oh, was 9 to 5,
Yep.
work hard,
Mm-hmm.
long, long hours.
Mm-hmm.
My daddy, I mean, he would start work on Monday, and by Thursday, he was already calling mama saying, well, I'm already into overtime, time and a half. I hate to come home. I'm already into double time. I don't want to come, I need to do that. And it was from the most generous, loving place.
Yep.
But I mean, not only did I not see him very much, but he was exhausted. He was tired.
Yep.
And then later, especially now, it has taken, and it's helped so much for me to caregive for my mom, because the preconceived notions that they did have
Mm-hmm.
and what they know now, I'm able to live out in front of them every day.
Yep.
Because to not have a 9 to 5 job
Mm-hmm.
and to not work hard all the time uh, is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, it did help that I went into the hospitality industry there before I got sick. And so those shifts are kind of strange. And I worked in fine dining, so I could work like a long lunch shift, and that would suffice a full day's work.
Mm-hmm.
But even in fine dining, it's still hard work.
Yep.
It's, I mean, but it's a great training field.
You wouldn't believe, but I'm originally from Czech Republic, small
Uh-huh.
village in yeah, from small village in a country in middle of Europe.
Mhm.
And in my 21, I moved to England,
Mhm.
and the only opportunity kind of in front of my eyes, the easiest one, and what
Mhm.
I been able to get job super fast was
Mhm.
actually hospitality.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It's a
And
great training field, isn't it?
right, you can work like we've been working even like 15, 16 hours, I'm telling you,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
because we haven't been able to afford our accommodation at that
Hmm.
time. Well, especially when I've been here for first time myself by myself. I couldn't even speak English at that time.
Hmm.
And so I got here just because I knew somebody who knew somebody, and then that guy gave me opportunity to actually work here. So the there was a vision of better kind of life and make more money, right? Because in our country we would start, for example, even though I've been studying electrical engineering, um,
Hmm.
um, the opportunity of making money there probably would be now maybe it would change, but at that time that I've been there and finishing my school, it was like $600,
Hmm.
$700 per month that we would be like I would get paid.
Hmm.
So when I get into England, I was like I could make like three times that. So that was
Hmm.
like crazy. And even though now we are still living in UK, like you can over time we've been working here, we could still make like three times more than my parents that they have 16 years of experience.
Yeah.
So that was really huge to me, like see and crazy to me also to see like but yeah, it's just it's really I didn't know that you've been actually in hospitality,
Yeah.
so it's really
Yeah.
funny to see actually that type of thing that we have this type of things in common. And
Hmm.
it's just crazy and how hard work it is actually to
Yeah.
you know it's not like physical hard work
Hmm.
if you work in restaurants or coffee shops, but if you work like in hotels or like Airbnbs and
Hmm.
do like housekeeping and stuff,
Hmm.
that's that's difficult, really
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
So we tested all. Yeah. Yeah, but it was really painful time, and
Yeah.
at that time I didn't really know anything about business, so it was
Mhm.
like I didn't even start it. I've been like figuring out things when when they came, and um I had lost once I figured like I had a conversation with one of my friends that actually like what I met here, and he introduced me investments, and that was my entry point to actually start seeing that there are different ways how to make money on internet. But
Mhm.
there was lots of limiting beliefs, so I couldn't really,
Mhm.
process certain things that how it all works. So we've been still working super hard and doing this type of things on the side and figuring out like how investments works and how money works and so all that. And I think this is really important when it comes to, anything what you want to do in your life. You have to be really aware of what
Mhm.
is going on, and especially if you want to go to business, you need to be aware of how money works, and this is like the fundamental of your life. And it's so
Mhm.
funny to see that most people they don't know anything about money pretty much,
Oh, true.
right? And they and it's crazy to me to see that school and colleges they never teach anything about money,
Mhm.
never taught anything about money. And that's bringing me to the questions. What have you been taught about money in your young like childhood, and yeah, about success and money basically?
Mhm. Well, just that you had to work hard for it. That
Hmm.
was the main
Yep.
overarching thing,
Yep.
that you have to work hard for it.
Work hard.
There is no such thing as having money and not working hard
Yep.
for it. And I hope everyone listening knows this. That is not true. That is not true
Yep.
at all. And and I think it goes back with me to my grandmother again, just believing in me beyond anything that was like any kind of box.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so because of that, when I had all this time on my hands, and I feel like identity is my thing. And so um, in that, it brought me to when I was still studying before I was well, about 8 years ago, I guess it was about 8 years ago, I started looking. Hell, this is going to be so boring to somebody, but I used to look at Wikipedia and I would read Wikipedia. And what I would do is I would just kind of relax myself, but I would read Wikipedia. And whenever there was a blue tab I could open, especially if I didn't know about it,
Yep.
I would just click on it. I would have
Hmm.
like 40 tabs open, nowhere near where I was originally supposed to be. But in doing that one day, I was I got into banking and identity and who we really are and
Hmm.
central banks and trust and how the money system actually works.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, here I sit,
Hmm.
literally on my parents' after retirement farm with 20 years of my life completely blanked out, so to speak. And I'm coming out telling people not only how to spiritually see yourself so that all the different things can be healed, whether they're internal or whether they're external.
Yep.
And then we're going to shift that thinking into let me talk to you about banking and
Wow.
money. I mean, so when I said earlier that my life never looked like anything like anybody else's, I'm telling all of the audience, look at all the things that didn't look like anything else and dive into those. Or, if that's your passion, if you feel
Yep.
led to do that, because obviously there is something in that and follow
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
pursuit. And because I love it. I'm studying the difference in statutory codes and common law,
Hmm.
and now I sell trust to people and
Hmm.
help them with banking laws. Uh, but this is the thing, and I'm going to say this to shake anybody up. The banking laws and things that we can utilize, as you mentioned, none of this is taught in school.
Hmm.
None of this is common knowledge. Now, it's all hidden in plain sight because
Yep.
they have to make sure it's out there.
Yep.
And I don't want to necessarily take any kind of conspiracy theory dive here because it's not. It's right there.
Yep.
And yesterday I was using a special Chat GPT app, and recently this goes together because Tom, and I don't know how to say his last name. It's Bilyeyu, but he and his wife just sold their company for $1 billion. He makes videos and has a podcast and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But he has been outraged lately because
Mm-hmm.
he just found out how the money system really works,
Mm-hmm.
what's really going on. And so
Yep.
I made a post and I said, so don't feel bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody should feel bad, but do realize that when you go out and pursue your dreams, I mean, you left your country for another country. I mean, those of us that are wired this way, we're just different. But the thing is, I think that that's for everybody.
Yep.
And people just don't want to accept that because they think it's so uncomfortable, but you're uncomfortable either way.
Yep. Yep.
You're either numbed out because of it with all the bills and all the trouble and no real path in sight that inspires you. And again, these are just my opinions, but or you're going through the discomfort of growth and meeting people. Again, look at this. I would have never met you except I follow Myron Golden. I kept going to his challenges. In the comments, I met Rebecca. Rebecca and I, she lives in Rwanda. We have become like so close sister friends that we talk every day. And it is just this beautiful thing that's really going on if people will turn off the news and not look at that
Mm-hmm.
and the distractions and find these wonderful people
Mm-hmm.
that are just doing amazing things that are so inspiring that doesn't have to look like anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
So
know if that answered your question, but that's
yeah.
how it all came out.
Awesome. Yeah. So amazing. You mentioned Myron Golden. I've spent so much time to studying him also.
Oh, I love Myron.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
I
him.
have these books.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see him back there. I have his books. I
Yeah.
have his
Yeah.
book.
Yeah. Yeah, so amazing. We've been meeting him at FHL
Uh-huh.
this year. That was an
Uh-huh.
amazing experience actually. Finally to see him in person
Yeah. Yeah.
because we are not, like it's not as easy to get
Hmm.
into US just like that
Yeah.
because you know
Right.
um if we are not just I'm not just by myself. My girlfriend,
Hmm.
she's coming also usually with me on that type of trips. So we still like it can be kind of expensive to get into US.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And yeah, so that was amazing, especially like you know uh being in the room of so many amazing people. And uh it all comes into one thing. And most of the people have it from the wrong side, I would say, that they think that it has to be the lonely way or journey,
Hmm.
but it doesn't.
Mm-mm.
You know, you
Mm-mm.
have so many opportunities to
Hmm.
connect with amazing people that are going to support you and help you along the way and, keep accountable.
Hmm.
That's my experience.
Hmm. Mine too.
And um, I would even say that business is not about being on your own.
Hmm.
It's like more like a massive relationship building
Hmm.
mechanism or system like that actually like you building because it's super hard to be there on your own without like partnering or growing
Hmm.
your network, having conversation with incredible people, supporting you because then like how you can grow faster than being with other people who are highly motivated and driven than just having incredible conversation with them and spending as much time as you can because I love that saying when not sure now where it come from but you becoming the average of the five people that you are spending
Hmm.
most time
Yeah,
with.
right, right,
So this is like one of the biggest piece for me also, that I really love to, being around amazing people, and that's literally what is happening now because I'm able to. And it's
right,
just because I did the action, took the action, because if
right.
you don't take the action to actually do the thing that even may make you scared,
Hmm.
you won't get anywhere.
That's right.
And people, like those people that you can help, because the whole piece of entrepreneurship is helping people,
That's
right?
right.
Because
Hmm.
that's what we are, how we're designed basically. We are we should be obsessing
Hmm.
uh, by other people problems, not
Right.
on our not about our own problems, but other people problems, and solving their problems going to solve our problems, right? So it's just a whole, yeah, it's just I had this type of realization like a few years ago, I would say, or a year ago, about the whole thing, because I always been like the person behind,
Mm.
nobody can see me and these
Right,
type of
right.
things, but that's not
Hmm.
how actually how it all works. And
Hmm.
I haven't seen um, enough people talk about this type of things, like,
Hmm.
that you should, like, it's really a relationship building
Hmm. Hmm.
thing that you should be really aware of.
And there are so many too. I mean, there you go. You've got Myron putting out this and just life-changing content.
Yep.
And um and then you have these other people that are, I realize there's a lot of people that aren't, but I know that there's at least a handful of people. Daniel Priestley,
Hmm.
Christo is always in his own comments.
Yep.
I mean, you're literally talking to them and they care. Daniel Priestley, he had a workshop yesterday. I got this a 90-minute workshop with one of the greatest minds on the planet. I mean, it's just the opportunities are there to learn.
Yep. Yep.
And I know financially there comes a time where uh there is nothing wrong with free content, getting free content, being in that space that's all you can do. There's nothing wrong with that. And because you're not going to stay there. And then you can always do things like buy the book, do the thing, do this thing, do that thing, so that you're not just draining it off. And I mean, because for years, I mean, even now, I'm in Brand Builders Group,
Hmm.
uh, Roy and AJ Vaden. I mean, that community is amazing, but I've had to put it on a credit card going, okay, we're gonna get to, and I just now started getting clients. But it's that part of that belief system and staying involved. And again, going back with me, not letting the guilt, not letting the shame, not letting the, oh, so that's why it always comes back to that identity piece of who I believe I really am
Hmm.
so that I can help others,
Yep. Yep.
you know,
Yep.
and so anyway, again, we can say it's true. Here we are together.
Yep.
And a month ago, I didn't know you, you
Yep.
didn't know me. And you're doing amazing things. And I'm
Thank you.
honored that I get to come on here and testify that, it's just a matter of being willing to be who you are.
Hmm.
And that's hard. I'm not saying that's an easy
Yeah.
thing.
No, it's not hard. It's not hard. It's not easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Totally.
it's
Totally.
it's not easy,
Yeah.
but I don't see that for me there was no other way, because otherwise everything inside of me was just like, you know, you have these moments of everything's great, joy, and then immediately it's like, oh, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I had so many like, it, even for me when I've been starting this out, it was super scary, Yeah,
Sure.
I, like, English is not my first language. I had so many like this type of false beliefs in my head, my that I'm not worthy enough, and those type of things, and who I am, that I'm going to do those type of things and be connected with so many amazing people, and they do so much good out there, and what I can do for other people, right, and so on.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah. So, those type of things, those beliefs and, those voices, they're always there behind. And it's
Mhm,
just how you said, it's about becoming, who
mhm,
you are, who you become, yeah, who you really truly are.
mhm,
And don't try to be different. Like, don't try to be like different than who you are. Don't try
mhm,
to be somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, you can be different the way that who you are, but don't try to like
right.
hide behind somebody else's mask or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, and because I can, if you're not going to be truly who you are, it's going to be always this type of feeling of not being like, those people will feel that from you if you are not really trustworthy,
Oh, yeah.
like the person that who you really are in your in a in the normal basically world where you can meet people and talk to them, right? And it's going to be so much harder and so much you will feel over time resistant to actually who you
Hmm.
um, and how you talk to and communicate with other people. So it's not really the path that you're supposed to take. But I have no better explanation at this point yet to this type of thing. Maybe it's gonna come to me later on, like when I'm going to be longer and longer in entrepreneurship, how to express this more properly, because this is thing that even though you don't want to, you're living kind of like under the mask from other people who told you who you are not, and you're trying to rebuild yourself in a way that, like, to be seen in front of people that you are worthy. But in the end, you can change what people think about you. You can only be who you are in front
Hmm.
of God, because God is
Hmm.
the only person. Like, this is the only
Hmm.
uh, you know, person, I would say, that uh, created you. So you should be uh, the best version of yourself, the way that who he created you to be. I don't know if that makes completely sense,
No,
but
what I was going to say is you're actually already saying it beautifully,
right.
but and to anyone that is on the same road, which would be most of your audience and someone like myself, we're all on the same
Hmm.
type path and wavelength. And so I understand that perfectly.
Yep. Yep.
And being able to say it in a way that seems more perfect or
Hmm.
better, that would be, I think, to an audience that's not really going to understand anyway,
Hmm.
because they're not on that path. They've
Yep.
rejected that path. They're just,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
anyway, but when I was, that reminded me, when I was talking about the um Tom, which I can't say his last name. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
That's so unprofessional. I should have looked it up again before I got on here. I really didn't think I was going
No,
to
no, it's
bring it.
fine.
But anyway, look up men that have sold their companies recently for $1 billion. It can't be that many.
It's fine. Don't worry.
But anyway, he has a chat GPT that you can go through his company, and it's kind of a service thing.
Hmm.
So um that's what I was doing yesterday.
Hmm.
Is I was going through and it was asking me questions. Matter of fact, it was very harsh at first because I told it all the things I wanted to do, and it told me that I couldn't save the whole world. It was like, you can't do that. You got to pick one. And I already knew that, but. And so when I did, and we really started getting into the spiritual component all the way to the banking piece and the trust, then because there's all these families out here who want to self-educate, who want to unschool, who want to homeschool. We homeschooled. And my grandchildren are homeschooled. And so that completely looks different. We've got the whole vaccine, non-vaccine, educational, the not just the educational industry, we have food, we have medical, all the stuff has been revealed as not just broken, but designed against us from the start.
Hmm.
Us as the masses,
Hmm.
not you know.
Yep.
And so when I went through and I was doing this, and then Chat GPT or that Chat GPT came back and told me that what I was doing was blue ocean territory, that no one else was doing exactly what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's our conversation kind of come full circle. Everybody, because I'm an individual, because, or really, I don't want to use the word individual, that's a statutory term, because I'm a living human, because I am a living soul, a living human, then even if the title or whatever I was doing, because being a minister, being an executive spiritual life coach, being an author, any of those kind of things, those are just there's lots of people out there doing that. But then we tap into that God design of
Mm-hmm.
how we look at it and how what things excite us that we're able to put together.
Mm-hmm.
My Maggie Moo book.
Mm-hmm.
That's that children's book that I told you about, Maggie Moo
Yep. Yep.
Initiative. That was just that I'm here on my parents' farm
Mm-hmm.
and my grandchildren were visiting. And it was during right after COVID. And so everything was just such a mess. And my grandchildren were just hopping up the hill. And I was thinking, how could I help serve my daughter-in-law
Mm-hmm.
with all these things coming at us?
Mm-hmm.
Because everything was coming from every direction
Yep.
really hard at that moment. And just like that, God was like, well, think about, and I know it had to be God
Mm-hmm.
because it was like there were nine animals there's lots of animals here, but
Mm-hmm.
there were nine specific animals that throughout the course of that day, I was able to come up with that had a story that could relate to a child. We have a cow with horns. You're not supposed to have horns. The other cows don't like her. Her story is bullying.
Mm-hmm.
We have a cow that her mother passed away, and so there's loss.
Mm-hmm.
We had a pregnant mama cat that came up, and so I got to talk about adoption. We also have friends that have adopted, and so we know what a beautiful story that is.
Mm-hmm.
Another cat that was homeless. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because not only because it ended up turning into something for the Maggie Moo Initiative, where I give back to children to the place where I actually went and got counseling the very
Mm-hmm.
first time. But your story is all around you. It is what you are willing to see with your eyes and how I had a YouTube channel, I still do, that these animals are on. So I was able to say, okay, here's the book, here's the little stories, and then if the kids want to, this was really prior years ago when I didn't realize how bad videos were for kids and phones and stuff like that. iPads. My kids are now my grandkids. We don't do iPads anymore. We're really radical. And I just look at them and I'm like, it's bad for your brain. It's bad for your brain. I can't help it. It's bad for your brain. And so, but here just because I was here and I wanted to serve my daughter-in-law, I wanted to come up with something in some way that I could help her because she was pretty overwhelmed that she was fixing to start homeschooling.
Mm-hmm.
And so a little children's book came out of it. I have a YouTube channel that 3 times a week you can go see these animals. I mean, and it's none of that's that doesn't seem connected to me if you were just to meet me going down the street, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak.
Mm-hmm.
So I am just leaning into anyone watching this episode or any of these episodes that's on the fence because the things that are great that are inside you are God designed. And so they may not be apparent to anyone else,
Mm-hmm.
but they probably will be. There will always be at least someone, I believe, there will always be at least someone in your life that will come up, just like where I went to college at Yael and all of that. This couple, they ended up becoming my spiritual leaders. I went to her college, and even now, I mean, and another strong woman,
Yep.
loving,
Yep.
but no nonsense.
Yep.
And so, but she saw things in me And so just like the Myron thing back there and us meeting each other and Rebecca and all that kind
Yep.
of stuff. I mean,
Yep.
Rebecca's done a TED Talk and all these things, and I'm like, man, that's amazing. And but all of us that are in this service mindset, there really aren't any barriers
Mm.
other than the fear, oh, I've got to ask. Oh, I've got to, I'm
Yep.
gonna, why would they talk to me?
Very interesting, right?
Why would they not talk to
Yeah.
me?
Hmm.
Because I think because that's how we are as a group,
Hmm.
the really service-oriented entrepreneur.
Hmm.
And I think we also on that journey find out and realize the money aspect
Hmm.
is such a huge piece
Hmm.
because when the religious minded folks think that you have to be poor to
Hmm.
be godly. Um, um, when they say, well, what about all these people that are abusing it? We can't let any excuse or anybody else stop us.
Hmm. Yep. Yep.
And that's a brand builders thing. They really remind us that it is selfish
Hmm.
for us not to tell someone when we have an
Hmm.
answer that
Hmm.
can change their life.
Hmm.
And it becomes more about me if I'm not willing to tell you
Hmm.
because I don't like the reaction that might come. Then it's about me. It's not about me serving you. I'm just telling myself it's about me serving you, and that's not
Hmm.
true. So do it, y'all.
So amazing, so amazing. Do you, I want to share something also
Okay.
about something that I figured out lately because
Uh-huh.
I had this type of issue of just being able to, you know, start. I have problem of like being not being salesy kind of things.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
lots of things. Like I think lots of people are having this type of struggle also. And my coach told me
Hmm.
that, do you really care about those people?
Hmm.
I was like, yes. Well, it doesn't seem like that
Hmm.
because if you are not asking them questions, for example, because that leads to, opening them up or
Hmm.
conversation, like how actually going to, what is actually going to allow me to figure out if I can help them or not.
Hmm.
And I'm, for example, scared asking some type of questions.
Right. Right.
Uh, he was like, do you really care about them? Because that seems that you don't.
Hmm.
Because if you do, you would ask them because this is the only way how you can help them. I
Hmm.
was like, ooh, that's so cool.
Yeah. I know. I
Right.
know.
I was like, okay,
Yep.
I got it. So hopefully that could help somebody
Yeah,
also.
because that's what AJ, we had our bi-monthly meeting yesterday, and she was talking about the same thing. And so I had to well, yeah, I did have to, but in a good way. I got off the call and she was like, do today.
Yep.
And so what I did was I made like a 5-minute video for a handful of people because as I learn more and as I know more about what I'm doing, then my prices are going up. And I'm not apologizing for that. And and that's hard. That's hard.
Hmm.
That was
Hmm.
hard.
Yep.
But what you would pay for as opposed to the result is nothing. It's
Hmm.
minuscule.
Hmm.
But I wanted to kind of keep it low so more people would look and and all that. And again, it's just me, me, me. So I made this video and it was my confession video. And
Hmm.
I said, I have a confession to make. I have cared more about me and what you think about me than about you because I have let 6 months go by with these banking laws that you could have implemented. I just didn't want to be pushy.
Hmm.
And now you've got 6 more months. And because you were originally in my challenge and I've done these things. And uh, so I just want to let you know that, July 8th, things are fixing to level up again. And so I did this 5-minute video and I sent it out and I put it in my two private groups. And I was just like, oh, well, so here we go. Because I have to
Well,
call myself on it.
yeah.
Because if I don't step out there and say, this is what I did,
Hmm.
then that's just best for me. For me, I just need to be like, okay, I did it. That was me.
Yep. Mm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So now, where are you actually heading towards? What is your vision of your, you know, becoming?
my vision is to know, to be able to go out and start speaking
Hmm.
so that even in just a shotgun kind of way,
Yep.
in a big spread, people can start becoming aware
Hmm.
of all of it,
Yep.
of examining their beliefs,
Hmm.
whatever those beliefs are.
Hmm.
And I'm not telling you what to believe. I'll
Yep.
tell you what I believe, but you can believe anything you want to believe. I don't have a problem with that. You know,
Hmm.
that's your decision. Um, but for awareness, for people to start being aware, because here in the US, generally the people that, matter of fact, Wikipedia, I'll bring it back to Wikipedia. If you look up sovereign citizens, which actually is an oxymoron, you can't be a sovereign and a citizen. But anyway, we won't even get, I won't go further than that. But there was this show called Cops. My parents watched some things that just make me go, mm. But they love, like, they watched Cops when it was on and Judge Judy and that kind
Hmm.
of stuff. It's so funny because I am so different than that. But anyhow, um, but on Cops, very, very often, because my mother would laugh about it and make sure that I knew. She would, they would have some poor, strung out, drugged up, crazy human being with literally, his underwear on, riding a bicycle or walking down the street or something that
Yeah.
was just horrendous. And they would be sovereign citizens telling the police, you can't do this to me because I'm a sovereign citizen. So I feel that it is my call to get out there and talk about sovereignty, not just from the kingdom of God, but
Hmm.
sovereignty within making your own choices and your own
Hmm.
decisions, not choices. We know how Myron feels about choices and decisions.
Yep.
Your own decision about who you are and what you believe and
Hmm.
what you choose to stay in. And so just to be able to present the fact that there are other ways.
Hmm.
And there are people that if you don't want to believe me, that's like poor Tom that we don't know his last name, but that you can now point to and you can say, see, you might not want to believe me sitting in my parents' sunroom in a little farm in Mississippi, but how about this guy that just sold his company for $1 billion?
Hmm.
You listen when he's saying the same thing.
Yep.
So um, service wise, being from a small town and all of that, I really have a vision for going to places.
Hmm.
And I don't know if it's because I kind of like things that are hard. Like my parents worked hard, worked hard, worked hard. So I'm going to utilize that same mindset
Hmm.
of doing the hard thing because
Yep.
I do have that in me. It just looks completely different.
Hmm.
But going to towns and places, and this even includes like having my son that sings, having my other son that's very business oriented and very successful. My daughter-in-law, she is a doula. If anybody doesn't know what that is, it's the one non-medical personnel that helps the midwife
Hmm.
and homeschooling. And to literally get on buses or campers, nice campers,
Yep.
and go to these towns that nobody goes to
Hmm.
and to financially make enough money through, say 4 clients a month
Hmm.
with my big offer
Hmm.
to be able the rest of the time to go and to tell the people that have been just left.
Hmm.
They've just been left. Nobody's going. Nobody's going there. And I know that that goes back to me and my childhood. And even though there were, as a whole, I look at it as a happy childhood.
Yep.
I had a motorcycle, rode horses, all that kind of stuff. But I was an only child and I was alone. I don't really recall feeling lonely,
Mm-hmm.
but I would get homesick. I would, there would be things like that. And I was alone. Uh, and then later in life, being sick for those years, there were many times where I was so aware that the world was going on around me and
Yeah.
out there, and I had nothing I could do with it
Mm-hmm.
and what I was missing out. And so I'm pretty sure that that's what's in me that makes
Mm-hmm.
me want to go and do that. Um, because at first I didn't really know. I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. There was something I wanted to get all this together, get life together in such a way that I could take the people in my family and we could go and serve the people that are forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
But now, as I have becoming more the person, then I realize that it is from that being completely taken out of the equation
Mm-hmm.
when there was nothing I could do about it.
Mm-hmm.
As a child, there was nothing I could do about it. When I was sick, believe me, if willpower or anything else was able to change that, it would have been changed.
Mm-hmm.
But the great news is that the change occurred. It didn't take finances, it didn't take physical effort.
Yeah.
It took examining what I believed, why I believed it, and being willing to let go of one thing to believe something else. So,
Yeah. So powerful. Yeah. It all comes to you have to first, when the whole concept of um being like having is
mhm,
basically by being, doing, and having, right? And
mhm,
most
right.
of the people knows about this, but so many people have it from the wrong way. They see somebody having something they want, so they probably gonna do the same thing that they do, but
Mhm,
those people do.
mhm,
But they never take the time to become the person. And
right.
I can see that the whole journey that you've been on,
Mhm,
it shaped you into the person that you are now, and that you are better in serving others, and that's why who you are basically now, because you have the power now and everything what is needed to actually go and achieve on the
mhm,
why you here basically in the world. So this is, and it's just so powerful to see that also, because I just love this type of topic so much. Really appreciate you being here and sharing that with us. And I would love to end this conversation with one last question, and that
okay.
would be, if this would be your last interview you would ever done,
Mhm.
what would be the message that you would love to leave behind you for others?
Only one message. Only one. Only one message. Well, believe it or not, that's really very easy. Really and truly, know who God the Father designed you to be and how much He loves you and how much that relationship, He gave everything to have relationship with us.
Mhm.
And with Him, you will never be alone, and He will open the doors and He will protect. Doesn't mean that life won't still be a challenge, but you won't be alone and you will always be loved. And that will immediately draw all the other things to you.
So amazing. So good. All right. And where people can find you to support you or,
You
interact with
can
you?
you can find me on Facebook. You can my YouTube one of my YouTube channels I've shut down and I'm switching everything to you and Victoria. It's just going to be you and Victoria, and we are going to walk this road and all of the things in it. And you can always say, go to my website, which is faithfreedomandfinances.com.
Awesome. And for everybody who's listening, if they stir something in you, don't ignore it. Share it with someone who needs it, subscribe, leave a review, and remember, you weren't born to follow the script, you were born to be free. Bye, everybody.